Shall we expect on that to be advice people will see?
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world watching. Welcome to this month's webinar, slightly different one. Our first B2B webinar on selling investment property with residential estates. Firstly, apologies if some of you have been on. The link wasn't working, unfortunately, but thank you to those that got in touch, and hopefully you're all on board now. So yeah, apologies for that. So this month's webinar, we've got myself, Mike Holliday. I'm the investment manager of residential estates. I've been with the company about 7 years now. So I head up the investment department, both on the direct selling team, and I have sub-agents as well who've sold for me for a number of years. Alongside me, I have the marketing manager for residential estates, Jason Guest.
Yeah, Jason Guest, business and marketing manager for residential estates. I've been with the company now for about 5 years. I've been in the property industry for about 20 years. Makes myself feel a little old.
Showing your age.
I am indeed. It started off in the letting side of property, so renting properties out, moved into a standard estate agency, real estate, and then more recently, about 5-6 years ago, got into investment sales. And also I have a marketing connection and head up that side of things, so I know marketing very well.
And joining us remotely, we have Andrew Brassey. Andrew, good to see you.
Good morning, Mike, Jason. Good morning to those agents watching and joining us. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. Like Jason, I think I've probably followed a similar career path to Jason, albeit maybe somewhat longer, probably about 40 years. I qualified with a degree in land administration 1981. So yeah, 40 years, there we go. Like Jason, started residential high street estate agency, a bit of lettings, and then in 2004 made a career move into investment sales. So, the past 17 years have been based on investment sales. Different model, same sort of principle, client care, we delivering the right product for the right clients, etc. And exciting times. I mean, the market at the moment is very good for us, very good for clients, and yeah. I've been with residential estates close to 3 years now. Enjoyed every minute of it. It's been great, and long may it continue.
So some of you will have been on webinars with us previously. For those of you that haven't, we'd like to try and keep it as interactive as possible. So you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen there, there's a chat and questions bit. Feel free to put in there if you've got any questions on us. It might be when we touch on the projects later on, you might have questions on that. Feel free to do so. We're happy to answer it, or afterwards as well, we'll be sending links.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is available to watch after the event. If you want to show staff or anybody else, that's fine. Any new agents as well, we've put a link up there already, and we'll put it again towards the end of the webinar. And that's a link directly to our website where you can sign up to send us details, so we can get in contact with you to take it further in terms of signing up as an agent partner for residential estates.
Yeah, and a bit of an overview of what we plan to cover. So this is sort of targeted towards new agents, but we welcome on our current ones as well. What we want to do is describe a little bit about us, residential estates, what we do, our history, what support we offer for agents. Then we'll touch on the projects we have live at the moment. So that's brilliant for those of you that have worked with us. You might pick up certain stuff that you hadn't before. And then we'll talk about potential new projects that we have in the pipeline. But overall, just for you to get to know us a little bit better, essentially, even for the existing ones as well. That's the plan. And as Jay says, it'll be recorded on it.
So who are we?
Residential estates. So, I mean, the company, Steve Povell, our MD, started the company now, must be 30 years ago. As predominantly just a traditional sales and lettings company in Chester, a really good one at that. The big move, if you like, was about 12 years ago when he started the short-term lets side of things. We were the only company in Chester doing that. I think before
Airbnb. So yeah, massive sort of pioneer.
Yeah,
move to do that.
And it's a big part of the company, and we'll touch on it later on in our projects, and particularly with COVID and everything that's happened. The staycation boom, which you'll have all seen plenty of articles about. it's been a real fruitful time for us on that, and it's good to be ahead of the market, so to speak. And then I joined the company, as I said before, about 7 years ago, and we started the investment department. So predominantly we sell off-plan property investments, but we do sell existing stock as well, particularly more recently. Clients seem to prefer that. And then about 3-4 years ago, we started this sub-agent network. So we started working with a couple of agents, initially in the UK, and then we branched out overseas. Andrew brought over a lot of agencies working in the past. So that's grown and grown, and we want to grow even further. So yeah, that's a bit of an overview.
I think one thing that stands out for us as a USP is the fact that we offer those services. And I've mentioned it before. As an investment company, stereotypically in the UK, I don't know about other countries, but in the UK, predominantly a large amount of investment companies are that. They're purely that. They source and sell investment developments, and they're very good at it. And then you also have, as a separate entity, you have the estate agents or real estate agents, and that's what they do. They do the localized sales and lettings and management, but they don't tend to sell investment properties as well. By doing all of that, we feel it's a bit of a USP for us because we've got that knowledge and experience across the board.
Yeah, in particular when we're bringing on developments, so myself and Paul, who heads up the acquisition side, to have that benefit of having the management team, the short-term let team, provide us with figures, and even not just the in-house ones, but we have external ones that we've worked with a number of years. It really helps shape the developments we bring on, and ultimately put together the marketing material that we can send across to you as well. So, yeah, that's a bit of an overview of us. So fact, and some of you that have worked with us a number of years won't have probably even come across this yet, because this is very fresh, isn't it, fact? So who are fact? You may have seen them on the end of films, anti-piracy.
Yeah, I've seen it for years. I remember even video. I'm sure I saw fact, and okay, you don't know what it is. You just see anti-piracy, and you think it's something to do with obviously film scammers and things like that.
Yeah, and the government use them as well to track down severe criminals. So they're a due diligence company essentially, and we're the first property company that they've signed up with to work on. It's only, as I say, very recently, but everything's all agreed now. So why is this important? Well, I'm sure there's agents there that are watching now that unfortunately have been stung with failed developments in the past where they haven't been built, which none of us want. It's a serious headache, not only for us, but in particular also for the clients as well.
I think anybody in the industry knows of a development that hasn't either completed or even has never got off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And what FACT will do is they will do severe due diligence, not only on the SPVs or the pretty marketing literature, but look at the people behind it. Look at these directors. Are there any red flags that should be jumping out? And if there are, we need to address it at this point before we launch it. So we'll go to the developer, get answers for it, back to FACT, who will hopefully sign it all off, put a report together, which put us at ease as a master agent, puts yourselves as a sub-agent at ease, and as well, it's good for clients. If clients can see this, they're probably more likely to buy. Certainly I would if I saw that the work that's gone into the due diligence side. Yeah. So it adds protection to us, protection to the clients, which ultimately will help us all in this situation. So yeah, delighted to have them on board and sign that up. It's hopefully a bit of a game changer, Andrew. Something new for you as well, as I say. I'm sure
very much so, Mike. I think I like Jason. I guess I've seen I've seen this logo on movies. I guess like a lot of people wondered what it is. But going forward, I think what it will provide is that knowledge that we haven't randomly selected a development and just marketed it, put it out there to see what happens. We've done a huge amount of work behind the scenes. And it's new to me that we've gone to this level to ensure security and safeguard as far as we can, clients and sub-agents and ourselves to a degree. I think if we look at due diligence in the past, it's tended to be a sort of mix of different elements put together to create a document that we've done ourselves with maybe the assistance of, say, a solicitor looking at the contract, looking at the lease, maybe talking to the developer's funder, maybe talking to their solicitor about past performance, etc., looking at company's house. The difficulty you've got with some of the developments where they are maybe an SPV, and a lot of developers will use an SPV which ostensibly can safeguard clients, but it's relative to that one development. But it's becomes slightly harder to go further back into the history of that developer, and that's where FACT will assist us immensely, enabling us to sign off schemes and I'm sure Mike will talk about this later, but we can spend an awful lot of time on this side of it to ensure we get it right. And it can be maybe a 4 or 6 month process from a developer talking to us or us talking to a developer to the stage where we get to launch. And within that time, this is the sort of work that we're doing. We're clarifying everything about that development and developer to ensure that we can mitigate the risk as far as possible. So no, I've not seen it before, Mike, and I think it's a very important tool for us to use and for agents, clients to be aware of.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out that agents will have access to that information if required. You know, if they're unsure about, they want to see that, we can send it to them.
Yeah, and that goes with everything that we send across. You know, we obviously have a direct team as well that, they all have the same level of access. We certainly protect clients as well from it, not, speaking to any clients direct or anything. So worldwide connections, I mean, we've worked with sub-agents right across the world. We have agents in the likes of Israel, Hong Kong, or recently the likes of Argentina. Russia, you've got a couple of agents under that done particularly well. Andrew, I know yourself as well, you've worked with a number of agents, haven't you, overseas?
I certainly have. I've been very fortunate in the sort of, probably from about 2012, when we personally started to expand an overseas network of agents. So I've been very fortunate to travel the world, meeting various agents, and I think it's important that as a company we put ourselves out there for yourselves, for the agents to come and meet you on your home territory. Pre-pandemic, Jason and I went over to Israel, spent a week with one of our Israeli agents there. Previously, I've been into the likes of Kuwait, Hong Kong, and what we were proposing late 2019 until things changed significantly in March 2020 was the three of us would make ourselves available for our agents to come and maybe spend a week with you. And it's not a hard sell for us to come and sit with you and drill the developments we have and so forth. It's to come and assist you, to talk to you about how residential estates work, maybe what we've just covered there, the fact, the due diligence, go over that aspect of a development, give you an insight into the development that we're coming to assist. To give you an idea, with my Kuwaiti agent, I would go for the week, sit in their office with them during that week, and they would bring clients in, sit in front of me, we'd talk about maybe development in Manchester, Liverpool, or wherever it may be, and just generally talk about the city, the development, and then leave the agent to make the sale. I would just assist with my knowledge of those regions. But quite often, those clients would become almost maybe friends, acquaintances would be a better word. They would then start to talk to me, would go out for a meal in the evening, that sort of thing. And it's very much, I think it's not all about business. It's about building that mutual respect between myself and the agent and the clients that they deal with. I think it's important that we understand that the client is the key, and we as the master agent, yourself as a sub-agent, need to take care of that client and look after them. So it is something that we will offer probably from September going forward, that facility to fly out, meet with yourselves, and spend time with you. Likewise, some of my agents sort of come to the UK, obviously, and again, the three of us very much encourage our agents to come and join us in the UK. Talking to my Israeli agent yesterday, the travel permit is starting to open, that probably he will come over in May, and we'll look at the different developments that he's sold. We'll go to Warm House, London Road, the villas, and we will then go down to Dudley development we're selling there. And it gives the sub-agent the facility to come to the UK, spend time with us, and see the developments, meet with the developer if required. And it works well. And I hope it works for both of us.
And you're welcome to send clients over as well. Even if you can't make it, appreciate it's long way to fly from certain places for every viewing, but we're happy to help on that front, on the ground, so to speak, and meet with your clients at these developments. So, yeah, it leads nicely on to sort of the support and what we offer as a master agent. And a lot of these points really have been derived from mistakes we've seen from other master agents in the past. We've been a sub-agent, we are still a sub-agent on certain projects, so we know what is important to you as an agent, and we've put this together on it. So the number one thing is obviously 24-hour support and making sure we're there at all times. WhatsApp, WeChat, any source, we're there to help. Hopefully those of you that have worked before.
Well, the way we work is you get assigned one of the three of us basically, and lucky dip, and you'll get access to us 24/7. We are human, we do have to sleep, but I don't think it's unfair to say that within an 8-hour period we'll get back to you. That's the latest, isn't it? I mean, we're there virtually 24/7. Apart from sleeping, we'll get back to you where we can.
Definitely, and we have the agents portal, which Jace will touch on in a bit as well, which we have access to the live availabilities. And we have all the marketing material. Jace and his team do a great job. So everything's there, from brochures, different types of literature.
There's development brochures, there's floor plans, there's imagery. It's all white labeled as well. We do that for you, so you can literally hit the ground running, get that marketing off, straight off the bat, and start marketing that development. We will also, if there's anything in there, in the assets that you can't find, talk to us, and wherever possible, we'll provide it for you.
Yeah, and we know everyone's different. Every agent's different. There'll be some out there that potentially want one bands. There'll be others with big marketing departments. You can use us as much as you want. So if you want us to put together a design for an email campaign, we've got a great department here that can help on that. So we're definitely here to help. Live availabilities, we know how important that is. We keep them as up to date as we possibly can on the agent's portal, which I said we'll touch on. And commissions, look, we know how important it is at the end of the day. We're all businesses, we're all here to make money on it. So we pay good competitive commissions, and we pay, most importantly, on time. So once we're paid as a master agent, the money leaves straight away. We're not one of these companies that say they have a pay run, particularly one day of the month. I don't believe in that sort of thing. Ultimately, I see it as it's not our money, it's your money. We make sure it leaves our account.
But again, that's from experience, isn't it?
It is from being
a
in the past. Yeah.
You've sold a property, you want paid for it. It's simple as that.
Definitely, we want to look after you. You ultimately will sell more properties on it. So it makes sense, the system, doesn't it? It should work, and more should follow it.
We touched on the agents portal there. What are we talking about? So on our website there is the agents portal. It's a password protected part of the site. If you go on the homepage of our website, you'll see it mentioned in the top right hand side of the screen. You can click on there. It's free to set up an account. We have to manually authorize it, and that's just from a security point of view.
Well,
and just to ensure that we know who you are, you know who are us, and to make sure that we're providing you with the information.
Well, and I think as well on that exposure, we know that you don't want too many agents in a particular area or a particular country. So we like to moderate it and work with a set number in each country, if you like. So that's the reason why it comes to us first. We have to authorize it, get to know you, and then authorize it. But you have pretty much everything on here, don't you?
You get access to the agents portal. In there is about 85% of the properties that you can sell. There are a few that aren't on there, but that's just purely because we don't put, there's a few that we have to keep totally offline.
Yeah.
But you'll be made aware of all that information. We'll send you the assets independently. But in the agents portal, like I say, is all the availabilities and all the marketing assets for those particular developments. There's PDFs, and that's where all the, like I said, the brochures and everything else is.
And this is what, like everything, we're always looking to improve, aren't we? So if you think there's something we should do slightly differently, or the layout should be in a different way, always let us know. We can see what we're trying to work together on it.
Yeah.
And then that leads nicely on to our wonderful after-sales team of Danielle and Emma. And again, a lot of you will have worked with them in the past. Brilliant team, and it's up to you how you want to use them. Again, if you're the sort of one-man band who don't have that after-sales team, or maybe you just don't have the time for it, you're welcome to use ours. We're more than happy to help on that. Likewise, if you're an agent who prefer to use your own after-sales team and don't want us to get involved, no problem at all. The option's there for you. But I can vouch for Danielle and Emma, do a fantastic job.
It's a hugely important part of the process. Ultimately, a salesman, salesmen sell the property. So a lot of the time, that's their job done. But the client, that is not done for the client. The client wants to make sure that they want to feel safe that what they're buying, and that whole process has to run smoothly for the client to feel that satisfaction and trust that everything's fine.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to say at this point is, from a direct point of view as a company, we looked at stats, and 70% of our clients are repeat or referral clients. We wouldn't get that if the client's first purchase didn't go smoothly.
Yeah.
And we want that to flow through to you, to the agents, to make sure that their clients get the same level of care, I suppose.
Absolutely. So that is there to use. You're welcome to get to know anyone a little bit more. So on to the main event for a lot of people, our current projects, where we'll run through, and just to get heads up on this, we're giving an overview of projects, maybe going into certain things that you hadn't thought before.
It's not everything.
There's so much more detail to go through. We can have calls afterwards or Zoom calls, however you want to do it, look through the marketing material. But this gives a good idea of what sort of type of projects we sell on it.
Sure. We don't want to bore people too much.
No, we'll try not to. So the first one is the villas. It's a big student project that we've got live at the moment. On this particular one, we wanted to more talk about the developer to start off with.
Yeah.
Abode Residences. They've done several student projects now. They originally sold ones in the likes of Leeds, Sheffield, and then more recently they moved into the Stoke-on-Trent area, the Staffordshire area.
You can see those developments on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and again, a number of you will have sold apartments in here, the likes of Keel House, Orm House, more recently, 1 London Road, all finished to an exceptional standard. And each project has got better and better, genuine on each one. And the villas is kind of the final piece, if you like, of the jigsaw. It's the last one that he's doing in the area on it. So, yeah, we just wanted to show you a little bit. We've got a video, I think, Jason, haven't we, of 1 London Road, which, as I mentioned, is one that he completed. Just to give you an idea on the level of finish and what we're talking about here before we move on to the...
I think Andrew's had some success in there with agents.
Absolutely, Andrew. You want to talk through this video?
Yeah, so here we are, 1 London Road. This is the main reception area. Each block, and as I'm sure those who have sold in London Road will know, there are 5 blocks in all. Each will have its own reception area, very similar to what we're seeing here. And this is actual imagery, not CGI. So this is the finished product. On-site receptionists, there's going to be USL are managing it, Urban Student Life, which is part of Homes for Students. They're going to be on site to manage the students on a daily basis. And as Mike said, as we've developed through each phase, Keel House, Orm House, London Road, and the villas, the specification has got better. You look at this imagery, that could be a hotel reception. This quality of student accommodation has improved significantly since probably 2012, when the concept of buying individual student studios started to come into sort of ownership of private individuals as opposed to pension schemes and insurance companies. So 2 units available in the villas. 69,999 or 76,999. So you're looking at sort of 70 or 77,000. Comes with an assured return of 9%, less the ground rent of 350. But crucially, as Jason may talk about, we get the interest paid on deposited funds at 4%. But you just look at this, and the quality of London Road is immense. And we encourage, we were talking before about encouraging agents to come over to the UK to see the developments, and more importantly, clients to come over. We will utilise London Road as very much a flagship for the villas to show clients what the villas will look like. Being off plan, they can't envisage the villas themselves. We'll go to the outside, we'll show them the locality of it, but we'll take them into London Road to show them the quality of the finishing that students can accept. And I say, I went to university 40 odd years ago, and there was certainly nothing like this when I went. It was a grotty bedsit type of apartment down some back street. And yeah, I think when we look at this, it's marvellous to be a student today and have this facility. And I think if we look at the schemes we've already done in Stoke and Newcastle under Lyme, even during the pandemic, we were getting good occupancy rates because the demand is there. A lot of city councils certainly Newcastle here, and the likes of Liverpool, Manchester, Sheffield, Nottingham are coming away from that HMO type of accommodation. They want to get the HMO properties back into private residential. I think there was a report by, I think it was either Samuels or Knight Frank, saying that if we lost or removed a lot of that student HMO, there'd be something like 600,000 additional private residences back into the marketplace. And I think a lot of owner-occupiers in that type of environment, and thinking about parts of Liverpool where the road was predominantly HMO, they will be so happy to see this type of development produced for students, to move the students into a more of a communal area and release that accommodation back into private residential. I think, sorry, Mike, Paul.
Sorry, Andrew, I was going to say, I think that's where sort of secondary locations like this work particularly well. We work with a lot of overseas agents who sometimes slightly get it wrong in the sense that they hear the likes of Manchester is a great place to invest, and then they hear student property is, and they try and almost put the two together, and they just don't go together on it. You know, Manchester would work well for a different type of investment, but for student, it needs to be in areas of demand, like Andrew mentioned, and an area like Stoke, which Jason, you know well from growing up there. There just isn't the other opportunities for students to stay in. HMOs are less popular. You know, not only do students prefer to live in these sort of complexes, but more importantly, the parents prefer.
I lived in Stoke-on-Trent for 5 years, and if my daughter said that she was going to go to Keele or Stafford University, I wouldn't want her living in an HMO down the back streets of Stoke. If she had the opportunity to live in a secure environment, and look, I mean, if you only look at the quality of this, that's, you know, that's where I want my daughter to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're just going to link here to the roof terrace. Now, there isn't a roof terrace in the villas in the new one, but it gives you an idea of, again, I mean, the developer spent money on this. He could have put more apartments on here and ultimately made more money for himself.
He was looking for about another 5, 6, 7 apartments.
Absolutely, but he wants to build on this brand, doesn't he? He's looking at the future of it, which is brilliant for us as agents. And as Andrew said, we're happy to show clients here or yourselves, if you get a chance to come over and view it. You will have access to this link as well, this walkthrough that we've just shown you, so you can send to clients. But yeah, we really, particularly with the villas, really selling the brand abroad. You know, when we were selling the likes of On House and One Road, it was much more difficult. You know, there were derelict lands. We didn't have this backup to show them. We've got the benefit of this now. We all should use it, you know, and put clients at ease. So yeah, that's a bit on them. The development itself, as Andrew mentioned, the price is £69,999. There are a couple of larger ones which are around £76,000 mark. But they all come with a rental guarantee of 9% net for 3 years. The only thing is separate, that is the ground rent of £350.
You say separate, it still means they're getting a 9% yield there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
After excluding that. So
yeah, and when we bring on a project, we tend to do is take away the rental guarantee. Worst case, if something went wrong on that, what do they naturally yield to these apartments? And this is a natural yield of 9%, which is great for after that rental guarantee period. You know, what's going to happen in the future? These naturally yield that because of the demand, like I mentioned before. And the villas will have, you know, brand new leisure suite one on the ground floor.
Should we take a fly through?
Yeah, let's have a look at the video. This will give you a good idea as well, especially those that don't know the area well, of what's nearby. So you see there Keele University popping up. There's about 12,000 students at Keele Uni, but only 2,500 bed spaces, and it's kind of out there on its own, isn't it? There's no accommodation nearby, so it's easy to see where the demand comes from that. Then you have Staffordshire University, which is a 5-6 minute walk from the villas. That's actually a slightly bigger uni, isn't it?
15 to 17,000 students, something like that.
Exactly. Maybe not quite high up in the rankings as Keele Uni, but from an investor's point of view, that doesn't really matter. You more want the number of people there to go. And then you also have the villas. You're right on the city centre of it as well, aren't you? Which helps on that front. So yeah, and again, you'll have access to this video walkthrough as well.
Amenities, with the villas, we're literally over. You saw there a big car park behind. That's actually a massive supermarket. So literally less than a 2 minutes walk for the students. Students are inherently lazy, or can be.
Yeah.
So they've got amenities all close by. Again, you can see there's something green. What's that green thing? It's actually a living wall. Abode are very eco-friendly as a developer. They put that into all their developments. Something a bit unique again to them, I think. It's
yeah, it just again shows you the sort of type of developer you're dealing with. They'll all be similar, like we said, to one on the road, a slightly higher spec. They have TVs in these rooms. The first time he's done that on his projects, it's a 40-inch TV on each apartment, which is a nice feature as well on there. And then, as I said, plenty of landscape around about. If you walk around the likes of Warp House and stuff, you'd see the level of detail on that front.
Ground floor in Block A is the full leisure suite. So you've got you've got obviously when you go in
this is block one here on your left. So this is the one that we're selling at the moment. We said there's about 39 apartments. It's still relatively fresh. I think we've sold maybe 12, 13. So there's plenty of apartments to go at. It's a great opportunity because there's not an awful lot of student stock out there at the moment in terms of to sell. So it's quite unique on that front.
The gymnasium here, absolutely amazing. It's not your cheap sort of home gym equipment. It's the sort of thing you get in any gym and pay £30, £40 a month.
And included in the rent for the students, so it's another massive feature for them.
It is. So yeah, just all in all, a great development.
So you can watch that full video. We'll stop it there. And that is the villas.
So Gary's just asked, is there any sinking fund or similar that owners need to contribute for future maintenance of the building, or does management fee cover these costs?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Gary, and I hope you're feeling better after recent events. But yeah, no, in answer to the question, that there is a part of the service charge, it goes towards that, so anything in the future would be covered onto it, and that's after the rental guarantee period as well. There'll still be a service charge. It can change, it'll be audited each year, so the service charge may go up slightly, but also come down. But ultimately, yeah, there will be that element of sinking fund to cover any future events inside.
Moving on.
Yeah, so that's our one student project that we've got at the moment. We are looking for more in areas of demand, and we'll be in touch when we get something. So Exchequer Grange in Bournemouth. This leads nicely back onto what we've done originally as short-term lets, and our background on that front, and how popular that's been in particular in COVID, Jason, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it comes out of COVID with the boom of the staycation, or the word staycation in the UK become a very big buzzword. Recently, they're trying to get away from hotels. They want the security and the all-encompassing of a fully enclosed apartment, for want of a better word, that they can rent on a nightly basis.
People in general just don't like to be tied down as much to in the future on it. And that's why short-term lets works really well. You'll see on here potential yields of 15%. Somewhere you think, well, that seems unrealistic, and we often get that from clients, don't they? And it just isn't. And you've just got to break it down and thinking it from your own point of view of what you pay on a nightly basis. And to get those 15% net yields, you're only talking £80 a night, which is not unrealistic anywhere in the UK that you pay per night. So they're normally quite conservative, those net returns. And Jason, you did a document.
That might sound hard, but here we've done a bit of a breakdown, and this is available to agents as well, a bit of an asset if you want to show clients that perhaps don't understand the model. This is based on Exchequer Grange, one of the studio apartments there, and it's taking on the comparable between letting out on an AST or a standard long-term let,
12 months,
12 months stereotypically, and versus letting it out on a furnished holiday let. Now, a couple of things to explain here. First of all, the figures that we've got there on the furnished holiday let, that's based on a 75% occupancy. We haven't overinflated and gone for the top. Let's go for 100%. There's room for improvement there. We've been realistic.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at our own management team. I think our average is about 92%. So there's definitely room for growth, in particular this year and next year with everything that's going on with COVID and the staycation boom, if you like. So that will grow. But this has just been conservative. And even when you look at the monthly side of the AST, I mean, 5% net isn't a bad return at the end of the day.
It's not, I mean, this isn't to say all ASTs and long-term lets are bad, furnished holiday lets are good. It's showing how you maximise. I mean, if somebody gave me an property investment, and I was getting 5%, I'd be happy with 5%. That's a good return. I think you mentioned before, what are you getting in the banks these days?
Yeah,
nowhere near that. So get 5%, that's great. But if you have the opportunity to maximise, people buy property generally to get the most out of it in terms of it's an investment at the end of the day. So why not maximise that opportunity?
Yeah, I just think it scares some people sometimes. They look at like the deductions that you see on there, the furnished holiday lets, and they panic a bit. You know, they see 40% and think, well, that seems an awful lot. But that is only coming when you're actually getting a booking in. And, you know, ultimately the most important thing is the final return element. You know, what's the net return on it?
I think the other thing to mention, sorry, is the security element of the fact that you can say to a client, look, we could do this and it's great, and you can get 75% occupancy, get you 10, 11, 12, 13%. But if I don't know, say the market changed or there was a sort of drier period in terms of tenancy occupation, you can revert back to the AST model and get your 5%. So, you know, you've got, it's a multi option investment.
Absolutely, and I think we've got a quick video of this one as well.
We have indeed. Yeah, let's have a look through. Let's check the range.
Andrew, I don't know whether you want to just talk over this in terms of location and what's actually included in the development.
Certainly, Mike. It's a 14-unit scheme, fairly close to the beach, as the panoramic scenes will show. Its proximity to the beach is a few minutes walk. There we go. There's the beach. But it will also, not just tourism, it will appeal to corporate people who are there for maybe a week's conference, or contract workers, etc. So, as Mike and Jason have said, you know, the flexibility of furnished holiday lets or short-term lets is quite significant. It can be on an AST, it can be short-term. What I also find with some clients is that they like the idea that maybe they could use it themselves. So a lot of the furnished holiday accommodation we're selling currently has that ability to be used by the client. You've got to be a bit careful how much you use it from a taxation point of view if you're looking to claim the maximum tax advantage of furnished holiday lets. But if you wish to go and spend a week in Bournemouth or some of our other schemes like the Swell in Anglesey or Eden Grove up in Cumbria, it gives people that facility, whereas on an AST, generally, you know, you're in there for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and you have no facility to make use of it yourself. So we're finding a lot of this type of accommodation becoming more of a lifestyle acquisition. And I think, you know, those of us that read various papers, everything about the travel section of, say, the Saturday Telegraph, the Sunday Times, Home, is all about staycation. And these locations we've chosen specifically for that side of the market, that staycation where people are looking to stay within the UK and enjoy holidays. I think if you looked at sort of booking somewhere today on some of the various other portals, to find accommodation, it's becoming more and more difficult. So the rise of staycation, as they call it, is coming along. The attraction of Exchequer there it's completed. So anyone buying into Exchequer Grange today could, on completion, start to see an immediate income. It's not off plan. It's turnkey, ready to go.
It leads nicely onto our other furnished holiday let, and this is more purely a holiday let, as Andrew mentioned. The other one in Bournemouth, probably more your corporate bookings or younger people groups together. This is a real high-end luxury development in the Lake District, which I know well, being from up there. Great area, and it's a stunning development, isn't it?
It's a stunning development. It's a former private school. You can see the main building there, and that's been converted into apartments, high luxury apartments, and then there's other properties on the site.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a good mix. I know not every investor wants apartments. You know, some prefer cottages, bungalows, lodge styles. This has got a mixture of everything, Eden Grove. And we did launch this a couple of months ago, and it has done really well. I think we've got 6 or 7 properties left in phase 1, but we have phase 2 coming up, which is another 10 properties. So that's why it's still working. Having a look at this. We've had a lot of people as well who bought this for themselves, haven't they? You know, that want to use it, and sort of the secondary, they're letting out things, the secondary thing. Yeah, real stunning development, perfectly located because you've got the lakes on one side. You've also got the Yorkshire Dales. Ideal sort of walking tree. This is the sort of place you'd go on a holiday, Andrew, I think.
It certainly is, Mike. It certainly is. And I think the development offers different elements. So within the main house, there are 8 apartments, and then some slightly smaller. Here we are in the pictures. We're looking at the sort of the main house. The main house dates sort of 1800s, something like that. And as Jason mentioned, it was a school initially, opened in 1955, I think it was, as a school, closed in 2013. Developer bought it and has spent time in renovating it. If we look at the quality of it, Mike made reference to high end, and it certainly is. If we look at the fittings in there, and certainly the hall, the kitchen, the lounge, it's got hard surfacing flooring, either marble floor, tile floor, or a wooden floor. It's important, I think, on some of these where you can have access to permitting pets. Certainly the bungalows, the gatehouse will permit pets, and that would be my recommendation if you were to buy, is to allow that facility. I deal with a guy who had a property on Anglesey, and he couldn't work out why he was getting about 50% occupancy, but his neighbour, who was utilising an exactly the same property, was getting 85, 95% occupancy, and it was purely down to that permission of permitting pets, etc. When he opened it up to permit one well-behaved dog, as he put it, his bookings went back through to 85, 95%. And I think some of the areas that we're dealing with, Bournemouth is slightly different, as Mike has made the reference there, but the likes of Anglesey, Cumbria, down in Caerphilly, it is more of a 52-week tourism area. Certainly the Lake District, you look at the figures for the Lake District, and probably, tell me if I'm wrong, Mike, is it 49 million tourists every year get up into the Lake District?
Yeah.
And when you look at that sort of level of activity, it just shows the potential bookings that these developments can take. I deal with one of my agents, and he goes to Centre Park, and Centre Park is about 7 miles away from Eden Grove, and he was looking to spend just around the New Year period, 6,500, I think it was. You know, it was well over £6,000 on a week's accommodation for himself and family members, and it's a phenomenal amount of money. And Jason has this theory that if you add a hot tub, it will enhance the bookings again. And Dave is that typical booking person. He wouldn't book it without a hot tub, and when he searches the portals, he's looking for accommodation with hot tubs. Just very quickly before I hand you back to Mike and Jason, one of the agents we work with on Eden Grove was asking about that side of it, the hot tub and therefore outdoor space. And where Jason was saying we add, we listen to what our agents are asking for, and if we can add additional information. And one of those was floor plans, or plot would be a better word, plot plans, to show the outdoor space of each apartment in Eden Grove. So you could look at, say, one of the lodges and say, yeah, I've got a 2,000 square foot garden. I could put a hot tub there. I could put a garden shed so they could store bikes and so forth. Because Lake District is very much, as I say, 52-week a year booking. And certainly in the winter, it will be people hiking, walking, mountain biking. And to have that facility where you've got maybe storage for that is important. Again, looking back at the Swell in Anglesey, we've put in storage sheds so people who have a surfboard can store them safely within storage within the development. So I'll hand you back to Jason. Yeah.
There's a few comments with short-term let property. I know some panic and think, well, my apartment may be trashed, or I think they think of the likes of stag do's and parties, and it's just not the case. It's further away from that. These properties are well looked after. As long as you've got the management company in place, they're cleaned after every booking. If it's a longer-term booking, they're cleaned once a week.
Well, one of the misconceptions is that letting out a property on a long-term let is much better, but you actually get more wear and tear with a long-term let than you do with a short-term, like nightly lets, and that's because of the cleaning that goes on. The cleaning and sort of the cleaners get the property back to the standard that it was at the beginning, and that's done after every tenant.
Well, if it was a normal tenant in there, I know there'll be management companies that will say they'll do checks every quarter. It doesn't doesn't happen. At the end of the day, you're going to see your property when that tenant moves out, which can be 12 months or even further down the line.
I rent myself. I've been in my property for 3-4 years now. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I would like to be your landlord.
Thank you.
But no, so they're really well looked after. I mean, I invest in Holliday Lets myself. Just recently bought one in Chester. So it's something I firmly believe in, and I know will do well. I opened it up to it being pet friendly to allow a well managed dog, should we say, like Andrew put it, and that that helps with booking. So it's about being flexible, making your apartments different. Working with management companies like ourselves or other ones, that will make the apartment stand out, if you like, and help it.
And I'm just going back to the hot tub thing. I know Andrew sort of talked about it, but I suppose I've used that as a point about our experience in that. We've actually established a relationship with a company that provides hot tubs.
Yeah.
And it's just a minor little thing, but that will maximise returns in a furnished holiday let if it's needed in somewhere like Eden Grove. And certainly selling to your clients, that's again information that we can provide you to help the sale and to help the client maximise those returns.
Yeah, and important to stress as well, these are standard properties. They're nothing different. They're not classed as serviced apartments or anything like that. They're residential properties that allow you to let it out this way. So like we said before, you can flip back to normal rental, and that's important when you come to resell. You can sell it to an owner-occupier, sell it to someone who prefers to do it normal rental, or a furnished holiday let, depending on how the market is performing in different areas. And as I say, it's a real common misconception. Some get it wrong. Even some solicitors at the time get it wrong. We have to spell it out. So it's a big thing for us short-term lets. Those of you that work with us will know we harp on about it a lot, but there's a good reason behind it. We all believe in it.
And for any agents that are maybe not confident, maybe they've not come across that investment style or option before, or just maybe want some more help with it, all three of us more than happy to jump on a Zoom call,
Absolutely.
Go through it. And
we've done webinars, haven't we, in the past that I'm sure we can.
Oh yeah, there's previous webinars. You can look back through our event webinars, and there are webinars purely on that. In fact, we've got another one coming up at the end of next month that's going to be on short-term lets as well. Just noticed Andrew Davison from Emerging Developments. Hi, Andrew.
I hope you're well.
Hi, Andrew. Hope you're well.
And so, and this leads nicely on to what we've got coming up, and the other projects we've got at the moment as well. So I corner in York. York's a similar sort of area to the likes of Chester where we're based. You're going to have that mixture of leisure bookings and corporate bookings.
It's an it's a Roman city, very much like Chester. It's a bit bigger. It's got Roman walls. Gets a lot of tourism.
It's just an area that makes sense that will work forever. On short-term lets. Trinity in Colwyn Bay, North Wales, another beautifully converted development on church, that again will do really well. We've got a few apartments left in there, all on the agents portal. And then in terms of what we have coming up, Cornwall is very close now. We're hoping to launch that on Friday. 12 completed properties that we have there, which will hopefully go relatively quick. So we're just finalising the final bits on that. And then we have a development in Southampton as well, which may be next week or the week after. But it's certainly getting closer. So yeah, we just wanted to touch on what we sort of cover, but there's a lot in the pipeline. Myself and Paul who work on projects. It's often 4 or 5 months into planning these projects. So it's important you get used to them. It's hard to do these types of webinars because you're always going to have a situation, a moment in time, if you like, where there's not much left. But as long as you get used to it, then when you come to a new launch, you know what we're talking about.
I think the message is that to agents who want to work with us, generally or stereotypically at any one point, we've probably got something for most investors, be it student, residential, furnished or short-term lets. We've generally got something that will provide them the returns that they're looking for.
Yeah, and on projects where we manage them, I know some of you out there might be thinking, well, I'm a bit concerned what if the client tries to go direct to us as master agent. You can register clients, register on our system, which will then prevent if someone did try and come direct to us, it would block them from it on that. We're not interested in trying to get on anyone's clients. I speak from experience. We've been some in the past from that when master agents have done it. We don't market to clients if they're bought. They're not on our database or anything like that. It's not worth it for us to just get that cheap one sale, if you like. I'd rather get on well with the agent and more sales in the future, and that will always be the case for as long as we're here at the company. So it's a big thing to stress across. So I think that's pretty much it. As I said, that's just an overview. Feel free to ask any questions that you've got afterwards. Get in touch with us. Sign up to us. To learn a bit more.
I'm just again putting on the right hand side there the link for any agents that aren't signed up to us yet who would like that opportunity. Head to that page. It's the Work With Us Agents page. There's a form on there. Put your details in. We'll be straight in contact. One of the three of us will be in contact with you, and we can get the process moving.
Absolutely. Final word of you, Andrew?
I think just, to sum up what you've said, Mike, I think it's important to reiterate that final bit Mike was talking about, that the client is your client. It's not our client. We will assist wherever we can, certainly on after sales, on getting the client through to an exchange and completion. But the client is yours. We will never market to the client. And I think Mike certainly mentioned it, and I've had great experience of where there has been maybe crossover of clients and some animosity between the agent and ourselves or the company I worked with regards to potentially poaching clients, and certainly not. Mike made reference there that the short-term gain of a sale is not worth the long-term relationship that we've got. And I would like to think those agents that are watching or will be watching, that have dealt with myself and certainly Mike and Jason over the years, will know that that's not the way we operate. We're very much agent orientated to maintain that relationship, that clients are unique to that agent, and wherever we can help that client with a site visit or a Zoom meeting, we're here to help. And I think, just to round up, the three of us are here to assist you. If we can't assist you, we're not doing our job properly, I don't think. And be that via WhatsApp, WeChat, if it's maybe China, or email, etc., or clearly a phone call. We're here to assist. Make use of us. That's what we ask. We're here to deliver a quality product for your clients.
And thanks for that. Send the message across. Gary, hope you're feeling much better to next week.
Thank you, Yasmin, and thank you, Andrew,
and thanks everyone else for watching. Much appreciated. Enjoy the day, and we'll hopefully speak soon.
Lovely, great stuff.
Thank you all.
Have a good day. Cheers, Andrew. Cheers, Jasmine. Bye for now. Bye-bye.